Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Let's bring in our audio audience. Fire zone. Black alert. This is Black Alert with Sulaiman Rahim. Sisters and brothers, everybody's getting discombobulated about this war. The war with Russia and Ukraine. The eschatologists, the politics brothers and sisters, just the everyday brothers and sisters. I mean, I'm getting calls from everyone. I'm bumping at people. What you think about this war? They're worried. They're worried. They're worried. They shouldn't be worried. They're worried because they don't have knowledge. They don't have foresight, which is their right. If you're a original person, foresight is your right. It's your right. But it's been taken away from you. The scriptures is yours. For you scriptural brothers and sisters out there, you non-scriptural brothers and sisters, that's the purpose of the scriptures. They give you foresight. It's talking about the future, not the past. They're deceiving you, telling you it's talking about the past when it's talking about the future. It's foresight, not hindsight. It is your right. It is your right. But it's been robbed of it. People like Farrakhan, see, the FBI puppet, the demon. So you're worried about things you shouldn't be worried about. It's like a blind man walking through a forest. Every sound startles him. Sound may be far away, but he doesn't know it. Brothers and sisters, this is your time, but you don't know it. They programmed you 400 years ago, well, nearly 500 years ago, turned you into Negro butts. Programmed against yourself. All knowledge taken away from you. All your history taken away from you. Everything taken away from you with just your physical ability to do what Master wants you to do. And that's what robots do. They're only there for their physical capability. That's what a robot is. So you wind them up and you point them in a direction and you program a task into them and they do it. You could program them to jump off a cliff and it would do it. And that's pretty much what they've done to you, brothers and sisters. And you don't know it. And you're perpetuating the programming through your children. This war with Russia falls in the category of wars and rumors of wars. That's the category it falls into. But everybody's, oh man, they think it's, hear people talk about World War III. No, this is not it, brothers and sisters. I told you a year ago when they had that big firefight between Hezbollah and false Israel, I told you that wasn't it either. Not it. because the war will be ignited in the Middle East, a war against Iran, which they are planning as we speak. That will be the war that will ignite Armageddon. And to understand, Armageddon is the war between the Europeans in Europe. That's Armageddon. But the war in the Middle East will trigger it. So if you want to continue worrying and be, discombobulated, upset, anxious, that's up to you. No need to be. And why are you worried anyway? This is their war. This is America's war. European Americans, they started this war. You keep fighting their battles for them. Why? They don't care anything about you. You got 400 years of history. When they arrest you, the first thing they say, let me see your rap sheet. And they judge you based on your rap sheet. But what is America's rap sheet? See, they don't want you to know that. That's why I call it critical race, what happened to us critical race theory. Theory? Theory. Try calling the Holocaust a theory and see how far you get with that one. That only lasts 3 or 4 years. This went on 400 years. It was no theory. They're trying to cover up. They don't want you to know what's going on. They're going 24/7 to keep you blind. But see, they have a law. See, their so-called scientist, Newton, right? Isaac Newton, right? He told them, he says, every action has an opposite but equal reaction. The Bible tells you that. It says a different way. You reap what you sow. The streets have another way. What goes around comes around. The Indians have another way, karma. Everybody has that idea. But somehow, some people think that doesn't mean anything, it doesn't work. It does work. It's fundamental mathematics, fundamental to mathematics. That means whatever you've done, there's a cost for it. That's what justice is, equal sign. What's on one side of the equation has to equal on the other side of the equation. That's justice, that's the balance. And so if you take and start summing up all the things that the Europeans have done since they came out of the bottomless pit the last 500 years, then there has to be a consequence for that. Genocide, murder, it says they will go forth seeking to steal, kill, and destroy. How did they get New Zealand? How did they get Australia? How did they get Canada? How did they get right here? Then they steal it. Then they kill the inhabitants. Then they destroy us as a people. It's clear, brothers and sisters. But you let these preachers tell you what they want to tell you because they've been paid to tell you what they're telling you. The biggest deception in the world is something that's been going on behind the scenes for 600 years, at least 600 years, undetected, unrestrained. That's the age of the demons. See, they talk about the open enemy. Well, if there's an open enemy, who is the hidden enemy? They was well hidden, only to be exposed and disposed by the Son of Man or Suleiman himself. These demons. You've been told, oh, well, you don't hear anybody talk about demons. You don't hear it in the church. They might say, oh man, you're a demon, but what is that? Because they've been working behind the scenes for 600 years. At minimum 500. They're the secret weapon of the devils. And they've been very effective. You get hints of it in the script, but it's more than a hint. Wolves in sheep clothing, the chaff that was sowed amongst the wheat by an enemy. See? Because biology tells you biology tells you, right, that you begin as sperm. You begin as sperm. You didn't begin as an egg. You begin as sperm. The egg is living material. It's not alive. You begin as sperm. So and that means you came from your father. That means you are your father. The egg gives you the material that you can use to develop yourself. It also has information about the environment that you're preparing to go into once outside the womb. And that's what the purpose of the egg is for, right? To maximize your development, because you can take genetic material that's superior to the genetic material that you have, replace it, exchange it, right? And also that genetic material that you've taken from in the egg from the mother also has information about what's life about outside the womb, because it's her nature and what her experience is ingrained in her genetic material. So it's two purposes, right? To maximize your development and also prepare you for life outside the womb. That's what the egg does for you. That's what it does. But it doesn't change your nature. It's impossible. You can put a seed in any kind of ground, I don't care what kind of ground it is, an apple seed, it cannot come up anything but an apple seed. That's a truth, that's a mathematical truth, it's a biological truth, it's genetic truth, it's a scriptural truth, because even scripture follows that. And in fact, you see it in customs, because the custom of the man, when they get married to the female, right, that she takes his name because this is his seed that's being carried on through time. So when you understand that, then you understand that the difference between skin folk and kinfolk. Because as the devils rape your women, then all he did was cut the women's complexion on his seed. The woman's complexion on him. So you have black-faced devils. And he did it all over the planet. He did it in China, he did it in South America, all over the planet. He spread demons all over the planet. They've been going on 600 years undetected, unknown, because they look like the people. But all of a sudden, people got all kinds of confusion what they didn't have before. See, they had peace and tranquility before, but now they got all kinds of confusion and distraction, because now they got a people there that's not really their people. That's why you have all this. They did that purposely to destabilize. Some of it was just pure, right, animalistic lust, but much of it was planned, determined, right, to play your seed. Because you got proof of it in Australia, because that was a government program, because they said they were going to breed the Aborigine out of the Aborigines. It was a government policy. See? And it's also a policy here. And they kept their seed in the house because they knew they could trust them. And they used their seed to convince you, right, to continue doing what you was doing and to keep you blind to yourself and make sure your programming stayed intact. Because they took 64 years to program you, and they used their demons to make sure that program stayed intact, because they would detect if somehow that program stopped fading or whatever. They had to call you on that. Get that program and boost it back up again. That's why they had these preachers. They preached with all demons. Half devil, half man. That's where demon comes from. I mean, how big a hint can you get to that? So they sent the preachers in to tell you to make sure that program, to keep checking that program, make sure that program stays intact. That program stays intact, and give you upgrades as needed. Serve master, love master. No matter how master treats you, continue loving him. They don't tell you the whole part because the purpose of it, if you read Proverbs, the purpose of it, right? The bottom line was just don't confront master. Just step aside like in a bullfight, right? The matador, because the bull don't have sense enough to turn. It only go forward. So the matador just needs to sidestep him and plunge his sword right into his brain. See? But you miss out on all that. So the first Negro butts ran off the line, came off the line in 1619. Took 64 years to program you. And then all of a sudden, the Negro butts come off the line, and when they come off the line, right? See, they come off with Master's brand. See, they went in raw material, they went in raw material, Kunde Kinte, and they come out processed Toby. They went in raw material, as Kunde Kinte, and they came out processing off the assembly line as Toby. And the proof that you still program because you still hold those names. If you still walk around calling yourself Jeffrey Richardson, then you're still programmed. And you see anyone who walks those names, know it, that's a Negro butt. Brothers and sisters, those of you waking up or woke, anybody walk around, any black face walk, it's one or two things. The demon, and listen to it carefully, because they identify with Massa, right? They talk like Massa, right? Then they're demons. But on the other side of the situation is, if they walk around with those names and they're not Massa's children, then they're Negro butt. See, they're still programmed. They're still programmed, brothers and sisters. They're still programmed. See? So you got to watch out for them. They're programmed. And they're doing they're acting other than themselves. Because they're programmed to act the way Master wants them to act. So they'll go in and they'll rat you out. Because that's what they're programmed to do. I run it when I had my own business, right? When I was full-time, my own business as a computer consultant, right? I run into them all the time. I see a brother or sister, and I see them, I try to nudge them a little bit, try to wake them up a little bit, nudge them a little bit. Next thing I know, man, I got the devil's on my back. What you doing? They don't want me there anymore. See? Because the Negro button went and told him, man, that guy, he one of them Muslims, or that guy, man, he don't like white people. Yeah. He's a racist. He speaks against white people. Yes, brothers and sisters, that's what be happening. Because they robots, you have to watch out for demons too. See, we play by robots Negro butts and demons. See, the Negro butts, we have to deprogram them. That's what Elijah Muhammad did. He deprogrammed hundreds of thousands of Negro butts. Just have Farrakhan come and reprogram them again. And they love Farrakhan. He's a demon. He's got everything turned inside out. Remember, read Exodus, brothers and sisters. If you do anything at all, go home and read Abrahamic Covenant. It's both in the Old Testament, so-called Old Testament, and the New Testament, so you can't say it was abrogated. Read it. Read the whole thing, not just the front part that Farrakhan wants you to focus on. Read all the way down to where we're going home, to where our land is. And once you understand that, your eyes will become open. Then you start to understand why people are doing what they're doing, why you have enemies that you have. See? You need to do that. And once you do that, then read Exodus. Exodus gives you a timeline. And so you can determine, you can scope out the figures. Because first we come to God, then we come Elijah, and then it will come Lion Aaron. He will deceive the people. He's a liar. He's a demon. He will deceive the people and lead them to their destruction. And he always blamed the people. He always said the people were sinful. Because when he got busted, he said, no, the people are sinful. That's what Farrakhan's always saying. He's so sinful. And he's a sinful. He's a demon. He's sinful by nature. But he's got everything twisted upside. That's why I say it's Legion. Louis Eugene Grounds, that's his real name. The NOI backwards. That's Legion. He didn't turn it all backwards. Like, he's the sinful one. And he's blaming you. He said, accusers of our brothers we cast down. You didn't understand that, brothers and sisters. If you do those things, your eyes will come open. Because the thing is, they try to tell you that all that's past history. No, what good is the scripture giving you scriptures that's for the past? What possible good that be? It's there so you can have foresight. But they turn to the past, so they take this. They stole everything from you. They stole your mind. They stole your your body. They stole your history. They stole everything from you, and that even stole your foresight. And you still believe in these people. You think these people will tell you the truth about anything? You think they know God? The real one? Who is the God of this world? Who is the God that's blessing this world? That's Satan. Jesus told you Satan is God as well. So in other words, if you serve him, you get blessed. You'll be successful. Adam will be successful in his period of time. We will not be. So that's the God that's blessing them. But that time is over. Because it says when he tipped Jesus, he said he had control of all the kingdoms. He said he had control of all the kingdoms except America. He said he had control of all the kingdoms. All of them. Every one. That's a Sunni also. Because they're your enemy also. He had control of all the kingdoms. He didn't say some of them. So if Satan is the God of this world, how could he be a God if the most powerful country in the world that's supposed to be didn't serve him? He said he had control of all of them. Except Jesus, Suleiman. So they tried to tempt him to fall down and serve me, and I give him decent no hell. They mine anyway. Get the F away from me. Brother, you better read this stuff and start thinking. See, the thing is, you can deprogram yourself. All you got to do is start thinking and ask questions. Start thinking and ask questions. You deprogram your own self. Self-deprogramming. I'm trying to teach you how to self-deprogram yourself. And then go in and edit all the stuff, that knowledge that you've been given, and check and see if it's true or not. Whether you can prove it or not. If it's not, reject it. Because nothing, you'll find out that nothing that you've been told that you can prove. It's just somebody's idea, somebody's philosophy, somebody's opinion. And you got those kind of opinions all over the world. The Hindus have one opinion, the Buddhists have one opinion. So if you was born in Hindu land, you'd have a different opinion you have right now. So you'll find out that those are just opinions, they're not facts. And that all the religions, all of them based on fantasy, myths. You can't prove any of it. They can't prove any of it. None of it's real. The only reality that's true is mathematics, and they're ruling the world with, even though the mathematics is weak, it's real strong enough to rule the world. People that don't have any mathematics. That's the true reality. So when you go out there and say, oh no, Hinduism, well okay, if Hinduism is true reality, then how come they can't bring anything into existence from it? Bring me a Hindu car. Bring me a Buddhist fuel. Bring me a Christian plane. You can't, because they're myth. They're not real. They're not real. But you can bring things in existence from mathematics. That's a true reality. That's a true reality, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand that. 1 second here, brothers and sisters, if you don't mind. 1 second here. Someone's at the door. I'll be right back. 1 second here. Okay, brothers and sisters, these little interruptions. Okay, let's see here. Okay. There we go. Okay, let me see. This, So if you want to believe in fantasies, brothers and sisters, that's up to you. That's part of deception. They disarmed you by making you think that religion is reality, so therefore you lost in this false fantasy while they had control of reality. They disarmed you. Because if you come into reality, right, then you have a different idea, you have a different disposition. See? Then they would not be able to control you, and you would have power. Because the power is in mathematics. It's not in prayer. It's not in prayer beads. It's not in flying carpets. It's not in statues and idols. It's in mathematics. That's what's ruling the world. They say, oh, well, you can take prayer and bring something out of those false realities. Oh, wow, prayer. I can break things coming. I can bring things into reality from that Christianity or from the Buddha. Can you? So in other words, that's your tool to bring those realities into existence. So I pray for a car. See? So that's how I bring that into reality. Is that how it works? Okay, if that's the case, and this God you say that some of you believe in is almighty, all powerful, right? Would you go to your $1 billion father and say, lend me a dime? No, you $100,000. I mean, why? Go big. So why you weren't bad about a car? Why don't you ask for $1 billion? Because you won't, because it will never happen. You see? Because those are not realities. That's why reality is real. Start real, reality. You can't bring anything into existence from those religious fantasies. Nothing. Only thing you can bring to existence is from the mathematics, which is true religion. Everything around you is mathematics. You can't find any exception to it. Everything you see in the universe. So if you believe in God, if you're spiritual type of person, right? Well, everything he created, he used mathematics to do it. He did it with mathematics. Because that's the only true reality. So if you want to keep believing in fantasy, fine. That's why you're getting your ass kicked. That's why you're not successful. See? So, well, man, are you successful? Because you don't have foresight. You can see people every day, people very successful, all of a sudden a storm comes and kills them or accident or whatever, and all of a sudden, oh, that's gone. If they had foresight, it would never happen. See? That's the thing about believers and scriptural believers and disbelievers. The believers, they're all destroyed because they didn't have foresight. They didn't believe it. The prophet tried to give them foresight, they didn't want it. So they got caught in the storm and destroyed. And those that listened and got the foresight, they was able to escape. And we're trying to give you foresight here. That's what the angel is all about. Foresight. That's why I said it was sealed until the end. Both so-called revelations, why is it called the Revelations? And Daniel, they're both sealed until the end. They both tell you that. And someone will have to come along and break those seals. See, then provide you a foresight so you can get through this Armageddon that's on the doorstep, that's on the horizon. Because it's coming. But this war with Russia is not it. It's not it. So you should relax If take from me, relax. That's not it. But it is on the horizon, it's right around the corner, and it will take place this year. But that war with Russia and Ukraine is not it. It falls in the category of wars and rumors of wars. The war that's going to take place is going to take place in the Middle East. That's going to be the spark that's going to ignite Armageddon. Armageddon is a European war. And what's driving this thing? The war, the rule of consequence. Consequence. Every action has an opposite equal reaction. There's a fundamental law. It's immutable. It can't be changed. It's the nature of the universe. It's the equal sign. That's the one side equal sign has to equal the other side equal sign. Whatever's on one side has to be the other side. That's one side is the action, one side is the consequence. That's why God is not mocked. So you go and you see all these things that took place in the last 500 years. Well, there has to be a consequence for that. That's why when you read chapter 18, we're going to look at that in a minute. Right? It says, what happened to Babylon was a consequence of his actions. And it's called the day of wrath, because his actions are built up over 500 years. But the consequence is going to be in one year. The whole all the consequences of 500 years of evil will be compressed into 1 year. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Say you was punching somebody, and you was punching them every hour, boom, 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 and they wasn't doing anything. And you throw 1,000 punches a day, bam. See, so you go, what? 365 days, 365,000 punches. And all that power that you hitting that person with. And then all that power, 365,000, right, punches, right? Say it's a pound a punch, right? 365,000 pounds of force that you hit this person with over a year. And then they take and accumulate all that force, hit you back with it with one punch. One punch, 365,000 pounds with just one punch. What do you think will happen to you? That's it balance. It balances now. 365, and it comes back to you in 1 day. That's what it talked about. All this crap that America's done, and Britain's Gog and Magog. See, Magog means the mother of God. That's America came out of Britain. See, and it's lying to you about who Gog and who Gog is Russia. We're going to talk about that in a minute too. Okay, so all they done, it says it's going to come back to them in 1 day, meaning 1 year. 500 years of what they done to us unimaginable, brother. It says we could talk to you for next 20 years and you would still not be able to see all the things they did to us, and you wouldn't be able to comprehend it. See? If you go and go to documents what they did, you wouldn't believe it, because they do things like that. Because we cannot comprehend. So you can't comprehend what the beast does. Because I mean that's what the beast does, right? But you wouldn't do anything like that. That's how part of the reason why they were able to captivate us. Because we can conceive that people would do something like that. We didn't look at them as beasts, we looked at them as people. And we didn't conceive that people would do things like they was doing, and like they did do. It wasn't unimaginable. Some of us actually drove insane during captivity because we just could not believe that people would do things like they was doing. That's why the scriptures call them beasts. It's unimaginable. And then you got these Negro busts running here, want to fist bump them and all that kind of stuff. Hey, bro, I mean, are you sick? I mean, you've really been programmed. We got to deprogram you. These people fed your parents shit, made them eat shit, beat them, raped them. See? You know, before they had football and baseball, you know what their weekend activity was? Hanging and burning your ass. They would just go grab a nigger, and they put it in a newspaper. They showed it on the internet. a few years back, the whole thing. They would put it in the newspaper. That means it wasn't secret. And everybody said, okay, we're gonna have a nigga out. And everybody they bring their children, their lunch and everything else. Everybody gather around in a park somewhere. And they go drag a nigga somewhere. They take him and they would roast him and burn him and hang all kinds of stuff. And that was how they got the entertainment for their baseball and football. You were in weekly entertainment. I'm not making this up. So you have no respect for yourself or your ancestors, because now you want to be friendly with these people that did that. Oh man, that's in the past. Really? Well, maybe we should put your ass back there and see if you think that's okay. Well, our children in the future are going to forgive them. See, they wouldn't forgive you if you done that to them. I tell you that for sure. See? That's why I said their wrath, because the consequence is a result of what they did. And that's the fundamental law of the universe. They got to pay for it. And so now by their actions, they produce the God that's going to pay it. See, you got to understand the mathematics of it. See, it's their action that proves Suleiman. It's their action that proves Master Prophet Muhammad. See, because we do everything, we personify everything. See, you think everything's just mystery in some other dimension that you can't see, you can't detect. No, it doesn't work that way, brothers and sisters. Right? They produce the consequence of their action, and it's personified. So there won't be any forgiveness, because these two are out for war. It's their nature. They have no nature for forgiveness, because they're the personification of the consequence of your actions that you produce. Because if you had never done these things, you would never produce. Because these are, where do they come from? They come out of the womb. They come out of mothers. Right? They come out of people. And these people you would never been produced if you hadn't. They would never been produced if you wasn't doing these things that you was doing. So you produce the seed that's going to come and take revenge on you for all the things you've done, to correct the balance, to put everything back in sync. The balance, correct the balance, because everything's out of balance right now. See? The rightful owners of the planet have nothing. And those who are, and the other ones, they have everything, and everything's out of balance. And so now everything has to be corrected, because the universe, everything has to be corrected. Everything has to follow balance. That's the law of mathematics. So the whole world is out of balance now because of the actions of Gog and Magog. The whole world's thrown out of balance. Whole world's thrown out of balance. So now you see it's correcting itself. So we produce a seed that will correct itself, that will correct the balance. See? So that's why I said their wrath, you produce two, right? That's their personification is to correct the balance. Even if you was able to destroy them, it wouldn't matter, because another one will come right behind that will correct that balance. That balance will be corrected. Because the universe is based on mathematics, and everything has to balance. That's what consequence is. Every action has to have opposite but equal reaction. So now you're paying for what you've done to put the universe back in just in balance. Because it's out of balance right now. Everything's upside down. Just like Farrakhan. You got a devil. That's what he is. He's a devil. We call them demons, right? Because he's just a black-faced devil. He's a devil. And he's sitting in Elijah Muhammad's seat. Everything is upside down. It says everything will be upside down. See? It says the head will no longer, the tail will no longer be a tail, but it'll be switched, and tail become the head again. That's where it was beginning, so shall it be in the end. You see in the book of Daniel, same thing about Nebuchadnezzar, right? His kingdom was control the whole world. And then it went to nothing. And then it turned to a stone, and it ended up, the balance was corrected, and it went back and took control again. See, Gog and Magog threw the world out of balance. This is what it says. If you read the thing about Gog and Magog, it says they threw the world out of balance. It says at the end, the remnant of the people that's left that they have destroyed and genocide and everything else is going to destroy them. That's consequence. That's karma. That's reap what you sow. Every action has an opposite reaction. You cannot escape that. But it says they think they can escape because it says they had no fear of God before their eyes. We understand God is the balance. They said they had no fear of consequence. That's what made it so dangerous. While they was ruling, see? But that's isn't that what David said? I think it was David in the Bible. He says he wondered why God favored them. See, because it was during their time. They was in sync with the times. So they were successful because they were in sync with the times. But they went overboard. But David said he wondered why God favored them until he saw their end. See? So you cannot overcome consequence. I don't care how many atomic bombs you have or whatever, because you're going to be used against you. Everything is backfiring to Europeans right now. And that's what the war of Armageddon is, a war amongst the Europeans. That's what Armageddon is, which will be followed by the war of China and India. To finish off, that's the flood, so-called Noah's flood, right? It's a flood of humanity, 200 million man army that's talking about in Book of Revelations. That's going to finish them off. But it's going to happen all in 1 year. All the stuff they've been done, right? In the last 500 years is compressed into 1 year, which is about to be ignited any day now. But the war in Russia right now, that's not it. That's war with Russia and Ukraine. It falls in the category, like I said before, of wars and rumors of wars. So day of wrath, see? Another way of saying is day of consequence. But the consequence is wrath because they did so much evil. If they had done good, then it wouldn't be a day of wrath, it'd be a day of justice or a day of reward. But it's a day of wrath because that's what they deserve. That's what's going to correct the balance. That's what it's going to take to correct the balance. And it's going to be so dramatic. It says it's going to be so bad. These people, especially in America, right, they're going to catch the worst of it because they said they're going to be starved to death, right? See, when China and India come, because they're going to betray them, when they come, they're going to put the country under siege. People are going to be starving to death. Even before they arrive, people are going to be starving. They have no food, so they're going to eat their own children. Children won't be turning gray-headed because they'll be afraid they'll be at home with their parents. They're going to have little children gangs running around trying to catch people to eat because there's nothing else. The pet's already gone. And they can't find anybody, they start eating each other. That's how desperate it's going to be. It says a woman in labor, right, will keep silent, won't let anybody know she's in labor, her husband, anybody, because she wants to eat the child, right, the afterbirth and the child that she just gave birth to in secret. I'm not making this up. It's in the scripture. Google it. See? And not to mention all the other stuff that's going to be going on in America. The demon wars, right? The wars, the false Israel wars. Because when false Israel be taken down, and that's what's going to trigger this war. When this abomination of desolation, these people, preachers and everything, talking this stuff, they have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. Right? When false Israel is taken down, right, then that means these evangelical preachers going to put the word out. See, because they've been telling everybody, and that's false Israel, that's false, that's true Israel, that's true Israel. Identity theft. And they know it's a lie. They've been telling people that. And so they think, well, Jesus will come and save them when false Israel goes under trouble. And it doesn't happen and false Israel is destroyed, which is not supposed to happen based on what they're saying if they're true seed Abraham. It can't not happen if they're true seed Abraham. But now it does happen. That means we have to be the true seed Abraham. And those preachers are going to let the word out. They're going to tell people right away, get rid of those folks. Get rid of them quick. Because everything we suffer right now, because they're going to be at war in Europe during that time. And they're going to be getting their ass kicked and all. And because the 9 plagues they talked about in Exodus, those 9 plagues is the war in Europe. And they said men's hearts be failing for fear of those things coming upon the earth because the powers of the heavens will be shaken. You better analyze that clearly, because the earth represents the European countries, and their hearts are failing in anxiety, not because of what's happening, but what's about to happen. Their hearts are failing for what we think their hearts will do what's happening and it's failing in anticipation. Because the powers of heaven, which is the Middle East, are shaken. Who has the power in the Middle East right now? Who has the power there? Who has the power? America, Britain, and false Israel. It says their powers be shaken. That means they'll be kicked out. And false Israel will be unsieged. And that's going to put so much fear that their hearts going to be failing, heart attacks. Like you wouldn't believe. Massive heart attacks. In anticipation. That's how bad this is going to be, because now they understand exactly. They know it's a day of wrath. They understand it clearly. And they know what the target is. Because if false Israel wasn't the real deal, we must be. And so the word's going to go out. Get rid of them fast. That's the only thing going to save their mind. Because if we are true to Abraham, who are they? If we're true to say, who are they? Because now they can't say we Ham who's born to be slaves. They can't say anymore. They've been oppressing God's chosen people. And God's come to tear their ass up. And they weren't, this wasn't the promised land, because they was calling themselves the spiritual Abraham. This wasn't the promised land. No, this was a land they stole. See, they said it was heathen, they got rid of it because God promised them land, so promised them this land, so they was justified in cleaning the land off. I mean, it was just roads and stuff here, right? Heathen, so it was justified to get rid of them. But now the truth is that wasn't the case. They came over here and they stole this land. It wasn't the promised land, and they committed genocide, right? There was maniacal, seditious, suicidal maniacs. Not suicidal, sadistic maniacs. Genocidal maniacs. And then they brought us over and destroyed us. They sought to steal, kill, and destroy. That's exactly what the Europeans did when they came out of the Dark Ages 500 years ago. They tell you that thing in millennia. Let me touch on that a little bit. They tell you that Gog is Russia. That's bullshit. You read chapter 20 carefully. That's European history. They call it the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages, they were thrown in the bottom. So once you understand who, they tell you Satan and everything. So they tell you who was in the bottomless pit. And the bottomless pit was Europe. And they was bound, they was chained up by Prophet Muhammad's empire. That was the resurrection. The resurrection took place at the same time, just before they were thrown into the pit. That's chapter 20. See? So it was the resurrection, right, of Islam, Prophet Muhammad's empire, that bowed them up into Europe for 1,000 years. That's the truth of it. It says after 1,000 years they would come out and cover the whole earth. There'd be 2 world empires. There's only been 2 European empires since Europeans have been on the earth. That's been America and Britain, and that's Gog and Magog. And they came out, and they covered the whole earth, because they didn't realize it was the whole earth. They've been Britain first was the first world empire, and then that's the whole thing about the ram has 2 horns. The first one, the first one came up, but the second one was bigger than the first. That's America and Britain. 2 world empires. Gog, they call them by name, Gog and Magog. Said they would deceive the whole world. And then at their end, they would only have for a season to do it. That's 500 years. And then 500 to 600 years. Then they would go and circle the holy city. What you talking about? Where's the holy cities at? That's all the holy, in Jerusalem, Mecca, all that place. They would circle it, and they bring fire out of heaven inside of men. That's these drones, these hellfire missiles. They're bringing us out of the sky and inside of men. Day and night, those skies are dark with these drones that shoot hellfire missiles down on the people. And then they will come to an end. I said that's the war in the Middle East. That's where it will come to an end at. That's where Armageddon will be sparked. Now, unpack that. If you understand that, they tell you that chapter 20 is millennium, that's the future. But they also tell you that this war that they claim is about to happen, that Gog and Magog is going to be destroyed when they attack Israel. That's what they're telling you, right? Think about that now. So if God and my God is to be destroyed, then how in the hell they going to come out of the millennia, as you say is in the future, 1,000 years or something down the line, how they'll come out of that pit if they already don't exist anymore? That show you right there, it's a lie. Russia is not Gog. America is Gog. And because those two world empires, first was Magog, the mother of Gog, and then Gog, America. You understand these things, brothers and sisters. They turn you into Negro butts. And this wrath is coming. That's why I say, get out of her, my people, so you don't take over, because that's the demon's bad plan right now to get you to stay here, right? Because when Sodom and Gomorrah went down, if you were still in the city, you got bombed. The hailstorm took your ass out too. And we're trying to get you out of here. It's a free gift. You don't have to pay us for it. We're trying to get you out of here. But they're telling you, oh, we ain't going nowhere. He want to stay here. So let's look at this a little bit, and then we close out, brothers and sisters. Now I got a little graphic here. I'm gonna show you this first, right? It says, now you can read this on your own, but this is sixth seal. Now the sixth seal here in Revelation AL-INJIL, right? The thing you want to notice here is that, see, you're not going to understand this unless you understand angel. So I'm going to get to the part where it says, a great wind. See, they say a great shaking occurred. They're not talking about earthquake. That's that King James stuff. Because you go a lot further, it says, and the trees and the stars of heaven fell into earth, because we know the stars can't fall on earth, because first of all, they're a billion times bigger than the earth, right? And plus, I mean, the stars are there billions of miles away, right? They're going to, come on, right? And the stars of heaven fell on earth as fig tree is destroying unripe figs of it by a wind great being shaken. So shaken has something to do with the wind, not earthquake. Because it said a great shaking occurred, and the shaking occurred great. And they tell you what type of shaking it is. It has something to do with the wind. So in other words, these are something, a wind blowing. But it said this wind blows and caused the fig tree, and we know the fig tree is representing the false Israel, right? It says America and Britain are the two figs. It says they fell. They was thrown off the tree before they was ripe. That means they had a plan. And without going into detail here, brother, says they have a plan in place right now to eradicate you. They don't need you anymore. They don't need you anymore. They stopped needing you when they went from the agricultural age to the industrial age. That's why they freed you, because they no longer needed you. They thought, oh, we did it because we love you. No, they no longer needed you anymore. They have machines and things to do that stuff. Heard of cotton gin, all that kind of stuff. They didn't need you anymore. And the South, the only reason why they was holding on to you, because they were sending you up north to work in those factories, and that's why the whites up there got mad, because they said we can't compete with slave labor. Because the factory was paying, the plants and factories paying $10 an hour, slave master said you and pay just shot $5 an hour, because you wasn't getting the money, he was getting it. And you work, you weren't going to sass back, and you work 24/7 if they asked you to. And that's why the North got upset about it. So you read the whole story. They try to stop it. They say, okay, let's have a compromise. Let's say there'll be no more slavery in the Western states, so we can compete. And the South said, no, hell no. We're going to do what we want to do. And by the way, according to the Constitution, the South was correct, because they had state rights to do what they wanted to do. It was an economic situation, because as soon as that thing was over, they threw you off there. They didn't give you no 40 acres to move. They didn't give you anything. They didn't give you no reparative. They gave you nothing. They threw you in the ditch and threw their demons, their blackface children behind you, because they said, you ain't going to live with us. Because they said, Master, what are we going to do now, Daddy? They said, well, hell, you ain't going to live with us. You can live off of them. That's what they've been doing for the last couple of hundred years. The politicians, the sports stars, the actors and everything else, they've been living off of you. And you don't even realize it. See? And they didn't get it 40 because they gave it nothing. And the first thing they did, they started opening up guilds, apprenticeships, unions, and all these different things to make sure you did not work in those factories, those plants. Exactly what they did. But they said, oh no, we did it because we got tired of slavery and we wanted to, no, well, you know, when you go back into the whole situation, the North had control of both houses for almost the whole time up to the Civil War. From establishment of America to the Civil War. The North had control of both houses almost all the time. And most time the presidency also. So if the North was so much against slavery, all they had to do is vote it out. They wasn't against it. And remember, Harriet Tubman was a slave in the North, in New York. And Wall Street was a place where they sold slaves there. That's why they call it Wall Street. So get real, bros. Just stop the bullshit. Get real. These people ain't doing anything because they love you. They're doing it out of necessity. And now they don't want you here anymore because you're a burden to them. Because now they got the AI age, right? And so they don't, you've been at Walmart lately? They phase out all these type of jobs. And jobs that they're keeping, they bring the people from Mexico in to do them. Whose jobs you think they're taking? And they send all your industrial jobs over to China. And all your IA jobs going over to India, and then the ones they can't bring here, right? I mean, the ones they can, they have them done over in India. The ones they can't do over here, they bring the people over here to do it. When they know you're the best at it, that's another story altogether. You pick up the phone, lady, somebody speaking English that you can't understand the English they speaking. See? And as this AI thing going on, Amazon got stores where you don't have to, no one's in there at all. No one's in there. You just come in with your card. So what are they going to do? They're going to send you a check every month? There's no job for you. So they're going to send you money every month. Or we just going to send them money every month like that Beto O'Rourke talking about. See, he's playing you. Because he's participating that you might think along the line, we just going to send, the government's going to give you money every month. You just sit home and they're going to give you money. You have to do anything because there's no job for you. So they're going to send you what? How much are they going to send you? Enough to eat? Enough to pay for your raggedy ass apartment? You ain't gonna need no car. You ain't going nowhere, right? And you buying that? You can't see this in front of your face. It says, let us be just shrewdly with these people. That means they don't want you to see it coming. It said it'll be as a snare. And you're walking right into it. We're trying to stop you. Farrakhan he's part of the bait. Oh, stay here, get reparations, all this bullshit. It's telling you they plan to wipe you out. And that's why Masfam Hamas is making this move. That's why it says this wind blew, right? And caused them the streaks to drop before they was right. Because before they was able to execute their plan, he went into motion to expose their plan to give you a chance to get the hell out, to get out of Dodge. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to just talk on that part, right? See, so you can go read yourself. This is the sixth seal in chapter 6. Let's see, if there's anything else we're going to talk, I think I'm going to bypass some of this other stuff here. Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about chapter 18 here. See, this is where it's telling you here, read chapter 18, where it's telling you, right, that all her sins and things she's been doing, it says, how do you say it? Okay, and I heard a voice out of heaven saying, let me move over here, bro, so I can see a little better. I heard other voice out of heaven saying, come out of you, my people, in order that you will not share in her plagues. I told you the war are the 9 plagues they're talking about Exodus. That's the 9 plagues. And her that you should not receive because she would glue together all her sins, all the stuff she's been doing, right? All her sins is reached to heaven. And God is called unjust action. No, he's about to go into action, right? Because that's the consequence now, right? And it says, I'm moving ahead here. And she said she done been things happening. It says, and saying, I'm sitting as a queen, right? And I'm not a widow, right? Because, Satan's her husband, right? And mourning, I will not see. I'm not going to get any consequence for what I'm doing, right? Remember, I'm not going to get any consequence for this, right? So death, mourning, and famine, and the fire should be burned down. It says all that will come to her in one day. That means 1 year. All the stuff, 5 years of hell, all the shit she's been doing, it's going to hit her. Consequence come back in 1 day. And it's coming. And if you can't even imagine all the stuff she's been doing, all that stuff will come in 1 day. Total destruction. So I think I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. I was going to go into this. I'm not going into this today. I'll go into it later maybe. The angel. So, brothers and sisters, hope you understand. The day of wrath is on the horizon, but this ain't it. But it will happen this year. See? Israel has already said, false Israel already said, because they got this JCPOA thing they're trying to get Iran to come back into, which they're not. India tells us they're not going to do it. See, I've been telling you for a couple of years they're not going to do it. See? As far as Israel says, whether they do or don't, they're going to attack them. Go check it out. They said they'll allocate, I think, $2 billion publicly, not secretly, for the stated purpose of attacking Iran, destroy their nuclear capability. See? And they're going to attempt to do it. And they said they're going to do it immediately. Imminently, it's imminent, because they said, as far as Iran is too close, they took a step further. They said, first of all, they said it would allow them to have nuclear. Now they say it will allow them to have even threshold nuclear. In other words, anywhere close to it. That means that could happen any day now. And it's not trying like they thought it was going to turn out. They also got, and they also taking and doing practice runs. They got these planes from America and everything else. They're doing practice runs right now, right, for their attack on Iran. This happened any day. Now that's the war. That's the one. Now you, if you've been paying attention, right, and you pay attention to this message and responded to it, then you won't be worried about that. Because at that time, you're going to be delivered. That's time of unprecedented trouble. You will be delivered. But if you're not, you're going to be here. So you should be afraid, because you're going to be here when this hell goes. That's the tribulation period. And you don't want to be here. But if you, that's up to you, brothers and sisters. Nobody's going to drag you out of here. That's my purpose, to warn you. And my warning, see, once this war breaks out, see, it says, Farrakhan and his demon crowd, right, this horde of demons, they're going to be cast out. And then it says, that's when the Ancient of Days will set. It says, when thrones are cast down, that means they're cast down. Then Ancient of Days said, you got lamb's wool hair. Does Farrakhan have lamb's wool hair? Does he have feet like polished brass, like burnished brass? Hell no. He's a liar. His father's the devil. He's the son of man. He's an ancient. He ain't none of that. So they cast out. That son of perdition cast out, who the Lord would consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is happening now, and destroy with his appearance. So therefore he's kicked out. And at that time, there'll be an international platform, and you'll be warned again. You'll be warned again about the abomination of desolation, the last chance to save your ass, and to be prepared to get your name in the Lamb's Book of Life, because that's the criteria to get out of here. It's a free gift. Don't cost you anything. You got to pay these clowns for nothing. They're living luxuriously off of your money and everything else. You don't have to pay for it. It's a free gift. All you got to do is stand up and acknowledge, and you get the hell out of here, because you don't want to be here. If you want to be here during the tribulation period, fine, have at it. See? That's what it's all about, brothers and sisters. But the day of wrath, there will be no mercy, because they got to pay for everything they've done, and it's going to be compressed in a 1 year period. 500 years, almost 600 years in about 1 year period. You think about it. Okay, brother, says, I'm gonna let it go. So let me fire zone, black alert out. Okay, brothers and sisters, hold on here. Okay, brothers and sisters, hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum.